The studio lights dimmed, the crowd fell silent, and the air around the stage thickened with tension. Yaman had just finished his explosive monologue on La Revuelta. His words, raw, emotional, and full of unresolved pain, had left everyone speechless. But there was one person who wasn't impressed. One person who had heard enough. Her name was Demet Özdemir. Across Istanbul, while the interview aired live on television, Demet sat alone in her living room, the glow of the screen lighting up her face. She had promised herself not to watch it. She had told her manager, her friends, everyone around her, "I don't want to hear his name again." But curiosity, that cruel companion of unfinished love, won again. And when Ken began to speak, she couldn't look away. "Love," he said, "isn't about forever. It's about what survives when everything else ends." He paused, his jaw tense, eyes glimmering under the stage lights. "Some people taught me what love is. Others taught me what it isn't." Everyone watching knew who he was talking about. And Demet knew it too. Her heart pounded. She could almost hear his voice the way she used to, soft when it was just for her, sharp when it was for the world. But this wasn't the Ken she remembered. This was a man trying to rewrite history. When the show ended, the internet caught fire. Clips of the monologue spread like wildfire across social media, #Yaman confession, #La Revuelta speech, and eventually, #Demet react. Fans dissected every line, every look, every silence, as if decoding a secret message between two souls who once shared everything. And within hours, her name was everywhere again. Demet's silence after Ken's confession. Will she respond? Did he go too far? At first, she didn't. She kept quiet, scrolling through the chaos, feeling a mixture of sadness, anger, and disbelief. She had been the ghost in his story for years, the muse, the inspiration, the past love. But this time, he had crossed a line. Because it wasn't just a confession. It was a provocation. The next morning, a journalist stopped her outside her apartment. "Demet, have you seen Yaman's latest speech on La Revuelta? Do you have a message for him?" She looked at him for a long moment, calm, cold, unreadable. Then, for the first time in years, she spoke his name publicly. "Tell him this," she said softly. "Never come near me again." The clip lasted only 5 seconds. But those 5 seconds hit the internet like a bomb. #never come near me again was everywhere. Her voice, quiet but razor-sharp, echoed louder than any statement he could have made. Fans were stunned. Tabloids called it the final line. But behind that line, behind those 4 words, there was more than anger. There was heartbreak. There was history. There was the sound of a woman finally closing the door on a story that had defined her for too long. And yet, deep down, a question lingered. Not just for her, but for everyone watching, was it really the end, or just another chapter in the never-ending war between love and pride? The next morning, Istanbul didn't wake up quietly, it erupted. Every TV channel, every magazine, every gossip blog had the same headline splashed across the screen: Demet Özdemir's warning to Yaman, "Never come near me again." Clips from the previous night looped endlessly. Her voice, calm but cold, played over dramatic music on talk shows. Her photo, serious, fierce, was plastered everywhere. And for the first time in years, people weren't talking about Yaman's latest success or Demet's acting career. They were talking about the war that had just reignited between them. Meanwhile, in Rome, Yaman sat in silence in his apartment, phone buzzing non-stop. His manager, Marco, was pacing the floor. "Can, this is everywhere. She's trending in 6 countries. You need to respond. Now." But Ken didn't move. He just stared at his tablet screen, frozen on the moment Demet looked into the camera and said those words, "Never come near me again." Her tone wasn't angry. It was final. And somehow, that hurt more than any insult could have. Marco sighed, rubbing his temples. "Do you realize what this means? Every outlet thinks she's furious with you. They're saying you provoked her. You need to, I'm not saying anything, Ken interrupted quietly. His voice was calm, but there was a weight behind it, something broken. If I say something, it becomes a fight. And I'm tired of fighting. Marco frowned. You can't just let this hang. People will think, let them think, Ken said, turning away. They always do. He walked to the balcony, staring at the empty Roman streets below. The sun was rising, but it didn't feel like a new day. It felt like the end of something he had never truly let go of. Back in Istanbul, Demet was sitting with her best friend, her phone face down on the table. You really meant that, didn't you? Her friend asked softly. Demet took a deep breath. I meant every word. She wasn't angry. She was exhausted. Because every time she tried to move forward, his shadow found its way back into her life. Every new project, every interview, every smile, somehow, someone always brought him up. He keeps talking like I'm still part of his story, she said, her voice trembling, but I've been trying to live my own for years. Her friend nodded quietly, knowing there was more Demet wasn't saying. Because what no one saw, what no one wanted to see, was how deeply those words on La Revuelta had affected her. She had seen a man she once loved speaking about the past as if it were an old movie he could edit and rewrite. But for her, it wasn't a movie. It was real. It was heartbreak, sleepless nights, unspoken apologies. And hearing him twisted into performance art felt like betrayal all over again. By the afternoon, the story had gone global. Italian and Turkish media ran with it non-stop. Demet draws the line, no more contact with Yaman. Can silence raises questions? Is he hurt or hiding something? Fan pages split into two sides. Some defended her, she's right. He shouldn't use her name anymore. Others defended him, he didn't even say her name. Why attack him? It had become a digital battlefield, and they were both trapped in the middle. That evening, Can's phone buzzed again. It was a message from someone he hadn't spoken to in a long time, his mother. Maybe she needed to say that to heal. But if you still care, prove it with silence. He stared at the message for a long time. Then turned off his phone. She's right, he whispered, maybe words aren't what she needs anymore. He poured himself a glass of wine, looked out at the city lights, and said softly, almost to himself. She says never, but never is a long time. For a week, both Yaman and Demet Özdemir tried to disappear. He avoided interviews, she refused all questions about him, and yet, every magazine cover, every talk show, every tweet kept them together. No matter how far they tried to run, their names were still written side by side. The tension was unbearable. Fans begged for answers. Journalists stalked every step. And when a charity gala in Rome announced that both would attend, chaos was inevitable. Demet didn't want to go. Her manager insisted, it's not about him. It's for UNICEF. Just smile, stay 10 minutes, and leave. She nodded, though her heart raced at the thought. Meanwhile, across the city, Ken stood before a mirror, adjusting his suit in silence. His assistant tried to lighten the mood. You don't have to talk to her, you know. I know, Ken said quietly. But that doesn't mean I won't see her. The gala was held at a historic villa overlooking the Tiber River, chandeliers, soft music, flashes of cameras everywhere. When Ken entered, whispers followed instantly. Reporters turned, murmuring, he's here. He greeted people politely, his expression calm, his posture perfect, but his eyes never stopped scanning the crowd. And then, she arrived. Demet walked in wearing a sleek black gown, hair swept back, face radiant under the lights. The entire room shifted. Every camera turned. Every murmur stopped. It had been over a year since they last stood in the same room. But when their eyes met across the hall, time froze. The orchestra kept playing, but neither heard a note. The air between them was thick with everything they hadn't said, anger, love, regret, pride. She looked away first, taking a deep breath, pretending to listen to someone beside her. He clenched his jaw, trying to focus on the conversation in front of him. But the inevitable came faster than either expected. During the dinner, the organizers announced a special photo session for all celebrity guests. They were to gather at the center of the hall, side by side. When Can and Demet were called, the room collectively held its breath. They stood next to each other, cameras flashing wildly, the air electric. The photographer smiled nervously. "Perfect, can you two stand a little closer?" Demet froze. Her polite smile didn't reach her eyes. Can hesitated, then took half a step forward, not too close, not too far. Enough for the cameras to capture everything, the tension, the distance, the heartbreak. Click. Flash. The photo was taken. And with that, the internet exploded again. Can and Demet face to face, the reunion everyone was waiting for. The look that says everything. The picture, just one frame, captured more emotion than 1,000 interviews. He looked at her like someone still searching for forgiveness. She looked at him like someone who had already given up waiting. After the photos, she turned to leave, whispering only 2 words as she passed him. "Don't start." But he didn't move. He just watched her walk away, again. And as the flashes continued to burn, he whispered under his breath, unheard by anyone. "You warned me never to come near you, but I still can't walk away." The photo from the gala spread across every platform within hours, cropped, zoomed, captioned, analyzed. One image, one look, one moment, and the entire world was convinced something had happened between Yaman and Demet Özdemir again. They hadn't spoken. Not a single word. But somehow, their silence said everything. The next morning, Can's phone wouldn't stop ringing. His manager, producers, PR agencies, everyone wanted a statement. But he ignored them all. He just stared at that photo on his phone. Her eyes looked cold, but behind them, he saw something else, something that hadn't changed. Pain. Meanwhile, in Istanbul, Demet was sitting on her balcony, scrolling through the same image. The headlines were merciless. The look that ended everything. Still tension between Can and Demet. She exhaled slowly, turning off her phone, and closed her eyes. "Why does he still have this power over me?" she whispered. Her assistant walked in with a stack of scripts and gently said, "You know you don't have to respond, right? You already said what you needed to say." Demet smiled faintly. "Yes, but somehow, the story never ends." 3 nights later, fate decided to intervene again. A luxury brand event, same city, same crowd, and once again, both their names were on the guest list. Neither wanted to go. Both went anyway. Ken arrived first. Calm, collected, but inwardly restless. He hadn't slept much. Every replay of that photo brought back memories he'd buried years ago, her laugh, the smell of her perfume, the way she used to touch his sleeve during interviews when she got nervous. He told himself it didn't matter anymore. But the truth was, it always would. When Demet walked in, the room shifted again. There was no red carpet this time, no flash storm, just a quiet buzz of tension. She noticed him immediately, standing near the bar, talking to a producer. He noticed her too. Neither smiled. An hour passed. They avoided each other masterfully, until the crowd thinned, and there was nowhere left to hide. She went to get a drink, and there he was, standing beside her. "You really meant it, didn't you?" he said softly. "What?" she asked, not looking at him. "Never come near you again." Demet didn't answer right away. She kept her gaze on the glass in her hand, her fingers trembling slightly. "You said a lot of things on that show, Can. You opened wounds that were already closed. I didn't mean to hurt you." "Then why did you say it?" He looked down, searching for words that didn't sound like excuses. "Because it's the only way I know how to talk about you, through pain." Her breath caught. It wasn't what she expected to hear. "You could have called me," she said quietly. "You could have tried to make it right privately." "I tried," he whispered. "Every time I wanted to, pride stopped me. Every time I saw your name somewhere, I froze." Demet finally looked at him, eyes glossy but fierce. "And now?" He sighed. "Now? I don't know if I'm too late." For a moment, she said nothing. The music in the background seemed to fade, leaving only the echo of their breathing. "You are," she said softly. And she walked away. Ken watched her disappear into the crowd, again. It was becoming a cruel pattern. Every time he reached for her, she slipped through his fingers. But deep down, he knew something had changed. Because this time, her voice had cracked when she said it. And that tiny fracture gave him hope that maybe never wasn't forever. Weeks passed. The noise faded, the headlines died, and once again, silence took their place. But for Yaman, silence had never felt this heavy. Every night, he replayed that last moment, Demet turning away, her words echoing in his mind. "You are." Those two words had destroyed him, but they had also woken him up. For the first time in years, he stopped running, from her, from himself, from what he'd broken. The fake smiles, the interviews, the stage speeches, none of it mattered anymore. Because no matter where he went, or how much time passed, every road still led back to her. One cold evening in Istanbul, he walked along the Bosporus, hands deep in his pockets, the city lights shimmering on the water. He had returned quietly, without announcements or press. There were no cameras this time, no stage, no crowd, no applause. Just a man with something left unsaid. He stopped in front of a small cafe, the one where they had once shared a cup of tea between scenes years ago. The same window seat. The same view. And as if fate had been waiting, she was there. Demet. Alone. Reading. Her hair tucked behind her ear, her face calm, peaceful, but not untouched. He hesitated at the door. For a moment, he thought about leaving. But then, he whispered to himself. "If I don't say it now, I never will." He walked in quietly, his footsteps soft against the floor. When she looked up, surprise flashed across her face. No anger this time. Just quiet recognition, and something else. "Something gentler." "You came back," she said softly. "I never left," he replied, almost a whisper. She smiled faintly, shaking her head. "You shouldn't be here." "I know," he said. "But I needed to see you. One last time." She closed her book, studying him carefully. He looked different, older, calmer, stripped of everything that once made him untouchable. No armor. No walls. Just truth. "You said never," he said. But all I heard was not now. Demet's eyes filled with tears, though she tried to hold them back. "Why now, Can? Why after everything?" "Because for the first time," he said, "I'm not afraid of what you'll say. I just need you to know that when I spoke on that stage, I wasn't angry. I was lost. And I've been lost ever since I lost you." The cafe was silent. Outside, snow had started to fall, slowly, softly, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Demet looked at him for a long time before answering. "You can't fix everything with words." "I know," he said. "Then why are you here?" He smiled sadly. "Because I needed you to know that even when you told me to stay away, I still prayed for your peace. And that is the truest love I've ever known." Her lips trembled. She looked down, then back up again, and finally, for the first time in years, she didn't look angry or guarded. "Just free." "You always knew how to ruin me," she said softly. "No," he whispered, "you're the only one who ever saved me." They sat in silence for a few seconds, both realizing there was nothing left to say, and yet, everything had finally been said. She stood up, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said the words he'd been waiting for, the ones that weren't cruel, but kind. "Goodbye, Can." He smiled, not the fake one, not the one for the cameras, but a real one. "Goodbye, Demet." As she walked out into the softly falling snow, he watched her go, no sadness this time, no regret, only peace. Because for the first time, they had said goodbye without hate, without pride. And that night, when he finally smiled again, it wasn't for the world. It was for her. Because sometimes love doesn't end, it just learns how to let go.